bringing you the latest news, recaps, and analysis of AEW and WWE. Get the unique perspective from a wrestling fan of over 25 years. Here's your host, Jaydee.
What's going on, guys? This is Jaydee here, and this is episode 99 of the WrestleBread podcast. So we are one episode away from episode 100. And if you haven't already, I decided to do a review of the Elimination Chamber, and I'm also going to be doing an AMA, and Ask Me Anything. So be sure to submit your questions through Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you find the podcast, and I will be answering questions live on Mixer this Tuesday, February 23rd at 8 p.m. So I'm going to be a little bit earlier than what I normally am. I might try to live stream it. I don't know. I have to figure out my technology. I probably sound a little better because I actually have my mic that is working now. So props to that. I hope everyone had a good Valentine's Day. Like I said before, I don't celebrate Valentine's Day. I rather have the chocolate and the gifts and the roses and the love the other 364 days instead of, breaking necks on one day to try to get roses and stuff that cost like $100-something. But I hope you had a good Valentine's Day for those who do celebrate. For those who are bold enough to, be chilled up with Boo and you turned on to Nxt Takeover, props to you. They definitely chose a good day for that pay-per-view. And we have the Elimination Chamber coming up this Sunday, which I forgot about from watching Raw. I completely forgot that they were doing that. And, I don't know if anybody have seen there's a new trailer out for Mortal Kombat. If you haven't checked it out, be sure to check it out. I actually watched it probably almost 20 minutes ago, which is probably the reason why I got on a little bit late. I watched it and then I had to chat it up. But if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. I watched the Red Band trailer, so it was a lot more gory, I guess you could say, than the normal trailer would be. I'm slightly excited for this movie. I was a watcher of the 90s Mortal Kombat. The first one, the casting was really good, but it wasn't as much fighting. The second one, so I watched the first Mortal Kombat in theaters, and then my dumbass decided it was a good idea to catch the second one in theaters. And if you haven't seen the second one, I don't know whether to tell you not to watch it to save, your memories of a bad movie, or to tell you to watch it just so you can watch a bad movie and laugh. But the second one was pretty bad. But the first one, the casting was pretty good. The actors who were cast looked pretty much alike. The second one kind of went downhill, especially with the dialogue. It was very bad. But the majority of the movies back in the 90s was just them traveling to places to fight, and the fights were probably 3 minutes tops, 3 to 5 minutes tops. So seeing this, I have a lot more hope. I'm not going to really dissect into the trailer that much, just in case for people who didn't watch it. But I find a few faults in that trailer, but overall I am excited because it looks like this Mortal Kombat is going to have a lot more fighting in it, a lot more actual fatalities, and it seems like they changed up Jack's origin story of how he lost his arms. In the trailer, they showed how he lost his arms, and I'm very sure that's not actually how he lost his arms, but I think there's 6 different stories of how he lost his arms as well. Sonya, I'm sorry, it's nothing compared to the first Sonya that they had cast, but this Sonya kind of looked good. Of course, I saw my dude Scorpion. They showed the fight between Scorpion and Sub-Zero, which was the highlight of the trailer. There was a few moves that Sub-Zero pulled out that was really cool. It definitely reminded me of the game. And then you hear Scorpion say the famous "Come over here." His voice is a little deep though. I'm too used to the voices of the game, which I guess I shouldn't really do. But overall, it was a pretty good trailer. I know a lot of people are very excited about it. It's coming out in theaters and HBO Max. HBO Max is just getting all the movies to see. Sooner than later, we will not be going to the movie theaters anymore because everything will be coming out in streaming, which is a bit sad because I always like going to the movies because you get the popcorn, the candy, stuff like that. You get to chill with other people, especially if you see like a movie that had a live reaction to it. Like I would go to the theaters to see Star Wars. I went to the theaters to see Dreamgirls. I went to the theaters to see the Marvel movies, and being able to like experience those movies with a bunch of people who are fans just like you are, it's really a very cool experience to go through. But soon we won't be going to the movie theaters because everything's going to be coming out on stream, and you might as well save your $10 of catching one movie when you can spend less than that and catch a lot more movies that's coming out. So, RIP to the movie theater soon. A little bit of football news. I'm sure everybody knows I am from Philly, and Carson Wentz has been traded to the Colts, and he was traded for a 3rd round pick and a conditional 2nd round pick for next year. And everybody is in Philly is like high up on Jalen Hurts. There's like different I don't really listen to sports radio in Philly like that, but they had Carson's head on the platter here. And I always said Carson is going, mark my words, okay, February 18th, 2021. This is what I'm going to say. Carson's going to do a lot better in Indy than he did in Philly. And that's because it's very hard to be a quarterback in Philadelphia. Let you lose 3 games, they're going to want your head on a platter. It's not like, it's not as simple as that they need to play better or something like that. No, they say we need a better quarterback. This person should be fired. This person should be fired. That person should be fired. And Carson Wentz is a very wholesome person. Like, he's a very nice guy. And that type of person really cannot survive as a quarterback in Philadelphia because the fans here are pretty brutal. I'm not an Eagles fan, but I know how it is here. Him losing when he wasn't doing well, especially after his injury, and they started putting his head on a platter. I mean, the first strike was when they put up a fucking statue of Nick Foles, like he's the starting quarterback. And so that tends to mess with your mind. And Wentz is such a good-hearted person, it feels like he couldn't really take the heat from Philly fans. Because they'll say some crap. They'll say some stuff to like hurt your feelings type of situation. And he's a very wholesome, good person. And so that type of person really can't be a quarterback in Philly. The Philly fans, they want a quarterback that'll sit there and like take shots of tequila and tell the ref, put up, middle fingers, stuff like that. That'll get them riled up. But as long as you're winning games, stuff like that, oh, you're an angel. But as soon as let you lose 3 games in a row, all of a sudden, oh my gosh, he need to be fired. We need to get a better draft pick. This, that, and the third. And it could be the first 3 weeks of a 16-week season. So, good luck to Carson Wentz. Everybody's clowning the Philly front office because they actually thought they was going to get a 1st-round pick for him, which is, like, impossible because you guys dogged your own quarterback. So y'all lowered his own stock because not only did the fans dog him, y'all pretty much replaced him. Granted, he was injured, but y'all put up a statue of the backup. Y'all benched him plenty of times, and it was just a lot of talk of how he is, on the field and stuff like that. So I think he's going to do a lot better in Indy than he does in Philly. I can't wait for the next season, mainly because we're more likely going to have more fans, so it's going to feel like a more authentic game than versus the piping sounds. Because when they pipe in the sounds, I feel like I'm watching WWE all over again, and sometimes I tune out the games. Speaking of WWE, let's go into some news and some rumors. First off, we got a few new signings to WWE, particularly NXT. We have Eli Drake, who got his name changed. And normally NXT, when they change the names of, indie stars, they change it to something good. But for some reason, Eli is known as LA Knight. I don't know where this came from. I don't know whose idea was it. I don't like the name at all. I highly doubt I'm going to grow to it unless Eli Drake does something so spectacular that I'm like, okay, yeah, I like the name LA Knight. I mean, LA Knight sounds like an 80s TV show. It sounds like an 80s TV show about two detectives, that's going around trying to crack a case. That's what LA Knight sounds like. We also have Talia Valkyrie, who signed as well with WWE, will go to NXT. I'm not too surprised about that signing, seeing as though that John Morrison, her husband, is with WWE. But I'm happy that she's going to NXT because I feel like she'll be treated a lot better in NXT than she will be on the main roster as well. There was a few documentaries that came out. If you haven't seen the APA documentary, definitely check it out. It's very short, and it's mainly it felt short to me, seeing as though how long they've been in WWE. But listening to Ron Simmons and JBL talk about their starts and how they got together and stuff like that, oh man, such good stories. Like, you can tell when you was watching them back in the day that they were really good friends. And it's just funny that, they actually bonded before they became APA. And then there's things that I didn't know about. Like, for example, Ron Simmons actually played with Lex Luger. He played in the NFL, and then he went to Canada and played in football as well. And he met Lex Luger. Lex Luger then went to WWE, WWF at that time. And Ron asked him about it, and he told him, come on down and check it out. Or actually, it might have been WCW. I forgot which, it might be WCW, actually, that Lex Luger went to. And then they also talked about this segment with Public Enemy. I remembered when this happened, and I didn't know the true story until later on, of course, but Public Enemy shows up late the day of, I think it was Raw. It was Raw. They showed up late to Raw and went up to APA like an hour or so before and was like, yo, that finish, we're not going to do the finish. And it didn't say like, hey, we think this type of finish is better or anything like that. They was like, no, we're not doing that finish. And APA came out and fucking destroyed them. Put them through tables. I think the spot was them going through a table or something like that. They didn't want to do. They ended up through a table anyway. And then they were talking about, of course, the backstage segments. If you guys thought that the Fashion Files were great, wait till you check out APA backstage segments if you've never seen them before. You can look it up on YouTube or on the WWE Network. I'm sure somebody compiled them together. Those segments were so good and it was so entertaining. Pretty much every celebrity that they had onto Raw ended up in the segment with APA. And all they were doing, they were sitting around the table, drinking, smoking, and they were playing cards, and there was gambling and stuff. And they had just a door that said APA. You had to knock on the door. You can't walk around the door because they'll say you walk through a wall, you have to go through the door. And it was pretty funny. And hearing the origin story of how that came about was pretty interesting as well. So if you haven't checked out that documentary, definitely do that. They also had a documentary of the day of Royal Rumble 2021. And of course, they featured Bianca Belair and her win. And very emotional too. She was talking about her win. And she mentioned how, she didn't know who she was. And she didn't know how to do a headlock. And now, years later, she's going to WrestleMania. Like, continuing to show that she is just a genuinely good person. Some of the biggest news that I'm sure everybody heard about is that WWE has banned talent from mentioning any third-party companies on social media, including charities and nonprofits. And, you know, every time WWE makes choices like this, I try to justify it, you know, as, you know, justify it on the company side. Cause I can see how corporate looks at things. Like, the only thing I could think of is maybe if you know, supporting something that could be controversial. But I don't get the nonprofits and the charities. Like, normally, especially the fact that WWE loves to pride themselves with working with charities and nonprofits. Especially, you know, there's Connor's Cure, there's breast cancer, there's a lot of other charities that WWE works with. So I don't get why they decided to ban with the charities and the nonprofits as well. I can see like them not being able to work with third parties, and or to say, you know, you could work with an approved list of third parties. So I don't know if it's just them really trying to save face. I don't know what's happening with WWE, because they're really shutting down as far as the talent interacting with third parties or getting endorsements, or the Twitch and Cameo. So I don't know what's happening behind the scenes. I don't know what's happening with the board of directors or the shareholders or something like that, or if they're about to do some type of big move or something. Because they've really been cracking down on things since they signed that. Well, before they signed the deal with Fox, but it's really gotten like really more strict since they signed with Fox. So I don't know if Fox is like telling them like, yo, you need to check the talent or something like that. Like, I don't know what it is. And truthfully, I can't even come up with like a good reason. That's the only thing I could think of, is that, you know, sponsors or something like that is like really cracking down on them. But yeah, I don't get it. Also, Kurt Angle said on his podcast that he wanted to team up with American Alpha. I'm sure we all remembered when American Alpha came up on the main roster. Even before they came up on the main roster, a lot of people compared them to Team Angle and wanted them to work with Kurt Angle. And come to find out, Kurt Angle confirmed that he actually did want to work with American Alpha. He said that he wanted to pair up with American Alpha, and he wanted to wrestle, and he wanted to be the world champion and then be tag team champions, very similar to Team Angle. He also revealed that he was meant to face Jason Jordan at WrestleMania, where he retired against Baron Corbin. He was happy and excited about it because Jason Jordan was a great talent. Unfortunately, Jason Jordan got injured, and they had to change up the plans, and that's when he faced Baron Corbin. I don't know. Now, I remember the time where American Alpha came up on the main roster, and I've seen a lot of people mention this as well. I don't know about Kurt Angle being a world champion at that time. I mean, if I remember correctly, that was also around the time he had teamed up with The Shield and stuff like that. And Kurt Angle has what I call the Batman neck. If you've seen the recent Batman movies, you probably don't know what I'm talking about. But if you've seen the old school Batman movies all the way up to maybe the first Christian Bale movie, you know that Batman had a problem turning his neck because of the suit that he was in. So Kurt Angle had the same issue. He couldn't turn his neck because of his neck injury. And so I don't know about him being a world champion. He wasn't really in that tip-top shape at that time. Also, the last piece of news as well, Cody Rhodes comes out to say that he is willing to do a crossover or work with WWE. And I don't know if Cody is talking about like soon, or is he talking about post Vince McMahon? Because the only time he would probably be able to work with WWE is if Vince isn't around. Because Vince doesn't know how to work with other companies. I highly doubt this is ever going to happen, simply because WWE don't even allow their talent to mention other companies that they came from. I remember AJ Styles would mention when he wanted to talk about TNA, he'll say like the other place or something. They don't even bring up the fact that this wrestler came from this promotion or something like that. Maybe maybe in NXT, yeah, but on the main roster, nope, never heard of them. And so when I first read that Cody said he is willing to work with WWE, I said so did a lot of territories in the 70s and 80s, and we all have seen what happened with them. Okay, even though I highly doubt I know that Vince McMahon will not be able to buy out Tony Khan, because Tony Khan and his dad has buku amount of money, probably more money than Vince has. But I don't see Vince McMahon willing to work with another company. So I think Cody should just concentrate on working with all the other wrestling companies except for WWE right now, because WWE doesn't like to share. So we had an awesome pay-per-view event this past Sunday, NXT Takeover. You know, when a pay-per-view is really good, it flies by, okay? And you don't realize how long the pay-per-view's going on. Everything kind of flows and stuff. And so let me get into the review of NXT Takeover. Like I said, very good pay-per-view. It's very rare that an NXT Takeover is bad, and they only have 5 matches. That's the crazy thing. Whereas on the main roster, they normally have like 8 matches. I remember that I think there was a pay-per-view at one point that had like 12 matches on there. But yeah, and here comes NXT consistently putting out, you know, these takeovers with only 5 matches, and every single match is either a B minus at the worst, or an A plus. So starting out with the first match, it was Dakota Kai and Raquel González against Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart. This was a pretty good match. Of course, showing what the women's division can definitely do. And it was very interesting with this. It was a lot more storytelling as far as more of Dakota Kai's stance in the tag team of her and Raquel González. Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart were was working over Dakota Kai's knee, and they was really like attacking her knee as if they were the heels. Normally, whenever in tag team matches, the heels are working over a body part on the face, and the face is pretty much isolated in the ring until they're able to get to their partner and give them the hot tag. Whereas though with this match, we had the reverse. We had Shotzi and Ember working over Dakota Kai's leg because of her, a callback to her knee injuries. And they was just, constantly working on that knee, that body part, like really showing having us feel a little bit of empathy for Dakota Kai, because, she's getting worked on her knee and she's like being resilient and stuff like that. And, trying to work towards a hard tag. A lot of good double team moves from Dakota Kai and Raquel González. I had picked for them to... I had picked Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart to win because I thought that, they were really going to try to push for Shotzi. But they actually went with Dakota Kai and Raquel González here. And really it makes more sense because they're more of a cohesive tag team than Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart. Raquel González has so much potential to be like a dominant powerhouse. And I always say that she kind of reminds me of Chyna. And I mean that I can see her getting into the men's Royal Rumble. Like, she definitely has the potential to be a powerhouse. And something that I mentioned during TakeOver, and I had to look it up because I was watching Raquel González and I was like, yeah, man, she's really good in the ring. And I know she hasn't really been on the roster for too long, right? And I looked it up because I had to compare her to our friend Lacey Evans, because we all have seen how she is in the ring. The crazy fact is Lacey Evans and Raquel González started wrestling at the same time and in NXT. I don't know how true for Raquel. I've read that she started wrestling in 2014 and then came to NXT in 2016. And Lacey Evans started wrestling in 2014 and came to NXT in 2016. Like months within each other. Crazy, okay? It's crazy how they both start at the same time, but yet their levels of like wrestling ability in the ring is just like night and day. So that was a good match. It was a good women's tag team match. Definitely showing what the women's tag team division can be. Next up was Kushida versus Johnny Gargano. This was a great match. I actually thought that Kushida was going to win this match because it's about this time, okay, for Kushida to get a title. And I figure, Johnny Gargano is able to lose the title and still look good. There was a great sequence with these pin reversals. I like it when they do these pin reversals to kind of show the wrestling technical ability, I'm trying to say, of how to pin someone. Because you'll see like these pin sequences that you never seen before. There was the part where Kushida did the punt kick to Johnny's arm on the entrance ramp. But this was hard hitting. Of course, Kushida is showing that he is a star. But I was hoping that he would get the title here, truthfully. I mean, that title has been given to Leon Ruff. And I don't know why not Kushida. I don't know what we're going to do with Kushida now. If we're going to have him go after the title again. Because Johnny won this clean. Because Austin Theory was taken by Dexter Lumis. And the funny thing is, he was taken by Dexter Lumis, and Dexter Lumis took over his Twitter account. I don't know if he still has control of the Twitter account, but if you check out Austin Theory's Twitter account, you'll see Austin Theory put a big ass picture of his face on one post, and then he did another post where it's the picture of Theory, Indy, Candice, and Johnny, and he put his face over Austin Theory's face. I thought that was funny. But this was a great match, though. The next match is the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classics for the men's side. This was the finals. MSK, who I don't know what it stands for. I'm saying Mean Street Kids, because I don't know what else MSK could stand for, versus the Grizzled Young Veterans. This was also a great match. MSK is definitely a great addition to NXT, and they definitely showed it with their movesets. Their movesets and their double team moves are crazy. You can definitely tell the chemistry that MSK had with each other. I remembered, I know them from when they were on Impact as the Rascals, but I didn't watch Impact for too long with them, so I'm still learning more about them. And I figured that MSK was going to win this match, and they did. And you can tell the emotion. They were very happy that they won this. And of course, that means that, which I meant to mention this for the women's side as well, that the winners actually get a title shot for the tag team champions. Well, so it actually makes the Dusty Rhodes Classic feel a lot more authentic. Now that Dakota Kai and Rachel González have won, they will get a shot at the tag team champions of Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. After that, we had a vignette of Cameron Grimes. It was Josiah Williams from Russell and Flow who did a remix, a song about Cameron Grimes and his money. And, he got money to the moon. And his new catchphrase, "Kiss My Grits." I loved it. I love that vignette. I love the song. I was cracking the hell up at the vignette. A lot of people like Cameron Grimes a lot more. I always felt like he was missing something. I didn't know who he was, if he was like this crazy cowboy, or if he was like a goofball, or if he was like psychotic or something like that. So now they kind of put something on him, like he's now this rich scumbag, it kind of works a lot more with him. I don't know how this is going to play out, especially once the whole GameStop stocks and all that stuff start to go down. But it works for him right now. I just want to know how this is going to translate into the ring as far as him being a scumbag rich guy. Like, is he going to start paying off his opponents to lay down and he pinned them? That would be funny if he was to do that. But it works for him. It works for him. Like, I liked it when he was, reacting with Dexter Lumis and stuff like that. I felt like that kind of made him, not more relatable, but, it made more sense. But now that he's a rich scumbag, like this country boy who suddenly come up to a bunch of money and just don't know how to act about it, that type of gimmick kind of makes more sense for him. But I'm interested to see how this translates into the ring. And then we come up to the women's triple threat. Toni Storm, Mercedes Martinez, and Io Shirai. I love Io Shirai. I love Toni Storm as well. I got respect for Mercedes Martinez. And when I was watching this match, and I was like, this match felt short. This match was only about 12 minutes long. And that is compared to all the other matches, which was like 24 minutes long for Gargano and Kushida. The main event was 25 minutes long. And the tag team matches were both 18 minutes long. So once we got to the women's triple threat, I felt though it was pretty short. To me, it felt like it was too short for a triple threat match. Maybe it could have gone a few more minutes. Io Shirai, of course, doing crazy stuff. She jumped off, she jumped off of some pillar onto Mercedes and Toni Storm. But it was mainly like Mercedes and Toni that was putting in a lot of offense. I don't know if Io Shirai was slightly injured or something like that. She was in the match, but she would like do a couple of moves and then she would like disappear type of situation. And then the match would be concentrating on Mercedes and Toni Storm. So, but overall, these women did great. Mercedes showing her veteran skills, and I would like for her to win the title one day. I would like for Toni Storm to win the title one day. Now, I don't mind Io Shirai having the title because I would like Io Shirai to stay in NXT as long as possible. As we all have seen, WWE does not know how to treat Asian wrestlers. Let's look at Shinsuke Nakamura and Asuka, especially Asuka. I'll say this, they don't know how to really treat dominant women that is coming from NXT. And I say that with Asuka, with Ember Moon, with Shayna Baszler, because Shayna Baszler had a lot of promise, especially when she was going against Becky Lynch. But then she lost, and then they really had nothing to do for her. I mean, the only people that really are like selling, of course, is the Four Horsewomen, Nia Jax, who else? That's all I can think of, really, who is coming straight out of NXT, who is dominant in NXT and is dominant on the main roster. Bianca Belair, of course, has promised, but I don't see it going good for Io Shirai, and I will be so disappointed when Io Shirai comes up on the main roster and they give her some stupid ass gimmick, have her dancing around with Asuka or something like that. Even with Kairi Sane, they really didn't have Kairi Sane doing too much. I mean, when she was teamed up with Asuka, the Kabuki Warriors, they felt a lot more dominant than Asuka as champion right now, which is a sad thing. But this felt short. I like the fact that Mercedes attacked Io Shirai before the announcer got out a sentence. Kind of felt like her, how bad she wants to get this title. But I think their days are coming. And I know a lot of people are kind of sick and tired of Io Shirai still having the title because there's a lot more you can do with the titles. I mean, there's a lot more that can be done as far as, putting the title on someone else. But the women's division NXT are pretty stacked enough that, I don't know. Like, I know Io Shirai can lose the title and she can still stay in NXT and still, like, go against other women. But you know how it is, NXT. Once you have the title and you have the title for a long time, eventually you get put up to the main roster. So Io Shirai's time is coming. She might get called up after WrestleMania. That's what I think. I think she's going to lose the title at Mania, Takeover Mania, and then we'll see her at Raw after Mania. And she'll succeed that night, and then maybe for like the next couple of weeks, it'll be all good and well, and then they're going to do something stupid, like change up her look. They might put her back in the mask or something like that. Who knows? And then we come to the main event. Finn Balor versus Pete Dunne. A match that a lot of people was looking forward to. This was hard-hitting. Pete Dunne fucked up Finn Balor's fingers. The amount of times that he was breaking fingers was crazy. There was this nice counter that Pete Dunne did from the coup de grace. And then the spot where Finn Balor took out Pete Dunne's mouthpiece and then kneed him right in the face. And then I forgot who I picked to win this match. I might have said Finn Balor. I said Finn Balor because we're leading up to Finn Balor versus Karrion Kross. And so, but Pete Dunne showing that he can get down in the ring, as we all know. But I wouldn't mind seeing this match again. I really wouldn't. Finn Balor showing how much it takes to defeat Pete Dunne with doing the coup de grace in the 1960 to put Pete down for 3 seconds. And then we had Larkin and Birch, who comes out and starts attacking Finn Balor. Then the Undisputed Era comes out, and I noticed it kind of took them a little while for them to come out. And then comes the spot that everyone is talking about. So Kyle O'Reilly is, he is a little more friendly with Finn Balor because of their match, and he got respect for Finn Balor. So he's helping him up, and Adam Cole and Roderick Strong was looking on, and I noticed Kyle was pointing to his shirt, so I don't know if he was telling Finn to join them, sort of, or to trust them. I'm not quite sure. I wasn't reading the lips quite well of what he was saying to Finn Balor when he was pointing to the shirt. But Undisputed Era put out their Undisputed sign, and Finn Balor went to point, and I felt it coming. Because I saw how Kyle O'Reilly was standing. He was standing a little further back from Finn Balor, and Adam Cole kicks him square in the face. I love a good super kick when you slap the thigh meat and it goes that nice slap sound as at the exact moment that the foot is connecting to the face. And Finn Balor sold that kick very well as well. And I loved it. And then Kyle was looking like, what the hell are you doing? Stuff like that. And then Adam Cole super kicks Kyle O'Reilly. So now, more likely, the Undisputed Era is no more. Or at least Kyle is kicked out of the Undisputed Era. And I'm fine with it. The messed up thing was, I actually was about to buy Undisputed Era shirt. I know I haven't had an Undisputed Era shirt this whole time. And it's because I don't want to buy a shirt and then something happens and you can't wear it anymore. For example, with Sasha and Bayley, they have shirts and now they are split up. I forgot what tag team it was. It was a tag team that was put together, and maybe for like 2 weeks they got a name, they got a shirt out, and then they broke up right after. I forgot what tag team it is. If you know what tag team it is, definitely let me know. But yeah, I remember it was a tag team. They got put together, they got a name, they got a shirt out, and they broke up. And not saying I never had shirts that I regret buying. Like, I have oh my gosh, I have a Happy Rusev Day shirt, which his name's no longer Rusev. I have a Zack Ryder shirt, true story, and it's not like it's a small shirt. It's a purple shirt with Zack Ryder's face on the whole shirt. Like, his face takes up the whole shirt. I have a Ty Dillinger Perfect 10 shirt. Let's see. I have Seth Rollins shirt back when he was Seth freaking Rollins, which, you know, you can still wear that. What else? Like, it's very rare that I buy a shirt for someone current. I normally buy shirts for the legends because names will not change, they will not leave companies, stuff like that, or they won't break up. So I have a lot of Undertaker shirts. I have an Ultimate Warrior shirt. I got a Stone Cold shirt. But I literally was looking at the Undisputed Era shirts probably like a week ago. And I was like, all right, when I get paid, I'll go and buy Undisputed Era shirt. Because there is, I don't like their current shirts, but it is a shirt that they have that I would buy. And of course, now they broke up. So I might just settle for an Adam Cole shirt. Because that's, you know, that name actually will carry over to other places. But, yeah, Adam Cole super kicked Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly. And I said on Twitter, I said, well, maybe, you know, Adam Cole was trying to swat a fly with his foot, and then Finn Balor was in the way. And then he saw that fly again and went to swat it with his foot, and Kyle O'Reilly was right there in the way. But, you know, then came what happened on Wednesday. And I really can't explain it away. Pat McAfee, though, the person that everyone loves, he actually trolled on social media saying that he was right about Adam Cole being a certified scumbag. So, don't know where that's going to go, because now Adam Cole's going after, obviously, Finn Balor. But I don't know, Adam Cole versus Pat McAfee now? Don't know about that one. So, going into what happened this week in wrestling, Raw wasn't really that good as far as the go home show for Elimination Chamber, and it felt like they just didn't know what they wanted to do. Elimination Chamber isn't really that big of a pay-per-view, so them making changes really don't not really trigger me, but, you know, I don't really feel some type of way about it. But when they do stuff like that to like Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series, I'm like, okay, what are y'all doing? But they decided to make changes on the go home show as far as who will be in the Elimination Chamber. So The Miz decided to bow out of the Elimination Chamber because he has the briefcase, and he figured to just mainly wait for whoever wins and then possibly cash in on them. And he wanted John Morrison to get in there. So then comes Kofi Kingston, who wanted to be put into the Elimination Chamber. I did hear a lot of people complain that Kofi Kingston wasn't in an Elimination Chamber. And so the New Day had cut a promo about how it could be Kofi Mania Part 2. And I could have sworn, you know, it was all good and well when we were going after Kofi Mania 1. But then after you get the title, a couple of months later, everybody kind of fizzled out on him. I remember that. So I don't know about everybody wanting Kofi Mania 2. It was a special moment. It definitely was. I don't know about it happening a second time, because I think things are going to go a little differently for what's going to happen. But they decided to have a match, The Miz versus Kofi Kingston. Whoever wins, if The Miz wins, John Morrison would be in the chamber, which really didn't make any sense because they said that it was all former champions. But if Kofi wins, he will get into the Elimination Chamber, and Kofi actually did win, and so now Kofi Kingston will be in the Elimination Chamber. We also have Damien Priest, who is officially part of the Raw roster, and he is teamed up with Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny is now the 24/7 champion, so okay, you know. And like I said, I guess somebody has been reading Twitter with people complaining about Kofi Kingston being in Elimination Chamber, because now he's in the Elimination Chamber. So hope everyone's happy. I hope everybody keeps all this same energy and I guess everybody wants Drew to lose to Kofi Kingston, which I highly doubt will happen. I think Kofi is there to kind of just shut everybody the fuck up. Truthfully. We also had Asuka and Charlotte versus Peyton and Lacey Evans, and I love Asuka, and I'm so upset that they just don't know how to treat her as a champion. This is the second time she is champion, and she is being treated like a sidekick. Because the storyline when she was champion, even when she was, because she rarely defends the title. Even when she was defending the title against Alexa Bliss, it was mainly the storyline of Alexa Bliss and Randy Orton. And when she teamed up with Charlotte, like, she was the tag team champion, but it was more of the storyline of Charlotte and Lacey Evans than it was of Asuka being having two belts. So now this was all about Charlotte and Lacey Evans, who refused to get into the ring. Ric Flair was giving her pointers and stuff like that. And now Peyton Royce actually had tagged in Lacey Evans. Lacey Evans then leaves and says that she cannot fight because she is pregnant, even though she has a title shot this Sunday against Asuka. And so then Ric Flair looked a little surprised, and he starts celebrating, and you see Charlotte looking like she's about to cry. So I'm like, okay, and I realized that Ric Flair is pretty much the same age as Mae Young when Mae Young had the pregnancy storyline with Mark Henry. And if you don't know about that storyline gets very weird very quick, because how old she was. She gave birth to a hand. The hand had grew up to be it seems like a nice man, nice hand, I guess I should say. But this was Mark Henry back when he was Sexual Chocolate. And that him as Sexual Chocolate, his theme song, definitely one of my favorite theme songs from back then. But him as Sexual Chocolate was definitely hilarious. But going back, Lacey Evans is pregnant, and then I'm reading and I'm hearing that Lacey Evans may actually be pregnant in real life. That she found out like a little bit before Monday, and they decided to change it up. But they're still saying that she's going against Asuka unless something had changed, and I haven't caught it yet. But she's still scheduled to face Asuka, so I don't know if she's going to go in and replace herself or do something, or Ric Flair interferes or something, or Charlotte comes out and Charlotte mistakenly punches Asuka in the face and somehow Lacey becomes champion. Like, I hope that don't happen. I regret putting that out there. But yeah, if it's storyline, then okay. We're going very weird as far as Lacey being pregnant with Ric Flair's baby. And I got duped because I thought I had took them at their word that it was strictly platonic. And now she's pregnant. So yeah, she's sleeping with the damn coach. And you would think for her to get coached by Ric Flair, she would actually do a lot better in the ring, but she is still showing that she should definitely go back down to NXT and take a couple more training classes, cause what the hell. And then we get Alexa Bliss, who appeared on screen, and she is summoning demons. How many people threw holy water at their screen to get rid of that negative energy that may be coming through your TV? But yeah, Alexa Bliss is summoning the Fiend to come back, it looks like. And so we'll see what he's going to look like. Maybe he comes back at the Elimination Chamber. Maybe he comes back at WrestleMania. Who knows? But I'm interested to see what he's going to look like. But she's definitely been holding down as far as the storyline since The Fiend is gone. I'm fine with The Fiend not being overexposed, that he only comes out for like, he don't come out that often, that we're getting Bray Wyatt, and then it's The Fiend. But she's definitely been holding down this storyline. Then there was the Elimination Chamber Gauntlet match. And WWE has this weird thing where they love to give away matches for free. We basically got to saw the Elimination Chamber match on Raw. And we saw the matchups that, we were waiting to see. First of all, Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. I thought that Sheamus was just going to come in and get a quick pin and then he wins. But no, we actually had a match between him and Drew McIntyre. We saw Drew McIntyre and AJ Styles. We saw, I think we saw Drew McIntyre and Kofi Kingston as well. And I don't get why we got that. Like, if you wanted to do, like, if you wanted to do, like, whoever comes out last or something like that, you could have had, like, a beat the clock challenge and have the 6 competitors, face someone different on Raw. It could have been done, and you would have been showcasing other people. You could have had, for example, maybe AJ Styles versus Riddle or something like that. You could have had Sheamus go against Xavier Woods. Like, you could have done something other than, let's put all 6 of them in a match, and then you basically get to see the matchups that you're waiting to see on Raw for free. But we're going to ask you to pay $10 unless you don't live in the United States and you live overseas, and you have to pay what I think is $40 or $50 to check it out as well. But anyway, Sheamus is last. So he'll be coming out of the Elimination Chamber last, and it's only, we'll see this Sunday who comes out first and second. Going into Dynamite this week, I didn't catch all of Dynamite, and I didn't catch all of NXT. I was kind of like going back and forth between the two. But we saw Hangman Page versus Hangman Page and Matt Hardy. I think they were going against the Hybrid. Or, yeah, I think they were going against the Hybrid. I forgot. Or it was just a straight up segment. But we saw the contract that Matt thought that Hangman Page has signed that Matt Hardy didn't know about, which is if they have a match at Revolution, I think, and if one of them loses, whoever loses, it will be the winner will get, I think it's 30% of their earnings, 30 or 60% of their earnings in the first quarter. So basically they're having a money match. Matt Hardy then there was like a mascot there who actually was one of the members of Private Party to attack Hangman Page, and then the Hybrid comes out. The Hybrid was there, and Matt Hardy was like, I'll pay you guys $3,500 to beat him up, which I thought was pretty funny. And then the Dark Order comes out to Hangman's rescue. We saw -1, getting the Dark Order to come out, and they kind of stood face to face, the Dark Order and Hangman Page, and Hangman Page was very grateful that they helped him out. The women's tournament is being shown mainly on YouTube, which I have a slight problem with. I think it could have been done, like, they could have a match on Dark and on Dynamite. Like, you can maneuver things a little bit so that you can have the matches on Dynamite. But it's on YouTube, I think, on Monday on top of that. So it's not even like it's being featured on Dark. It's being featured, like, on a day that people will more likely be watching Raw than watching AEW YouTube channel. I don't know if they're trying to get, like, their YouTube subscribers up or something like that. Like, why are you putting this on YouTube? Especially when you have the weakest division in wrestling. But we had Serena D versus Riho, who came back. And this was a good match. My goodness. AEW showing that it can happen. They can have a good women's match. They do have potential to have a good women's division. But my issue still is that the NWA Women's Champion is being displayed more and shown more dominant than their own champion. I don't get that part. We also had the segment where Team Taz was out in the ring. They called out Sting. Sting comes out with his awesome entrance. I love the snow thing. I love the snow and everything. He comes out, gets into the ring with his bat. Taz telling him, you made a big mistake getting into the ring. And Taz mentioned how Sting needs a bat in order to, survive. And Sting throws the bat away, takes off the jacket, throws it at Brian Cage, and starts attacking Brian Cage. And not to be that person, but I was slightly impressed that Sting was able to put on a few punches. It didn't look like he was as gassed, because if it was Goldberg would be gassed after that, because Sting is 61 years old, turning 62 this year. And so he looked a little good with that quick 10 seconds. It was promising. I'll say that. It's promising. And then Sting gets attacked from behind by Taz's son. Brian Cage kicks Sting in the middle, grabs him, and power bombs the hell out of Sting. And so I was surprised. I mean, I really shouldn't be surprised Sting took a bump, seeing as though he is trying to be in a match. But yeah, Sting took a bump. And we have, I guess a little teaser for what's to come, that Sting can take bumps and can, throw a couple of punches and a few kicks in a quick series of punches and kicks and not look as gassed as I thought he would be. But adrenaline. This could all be a fluke. He could probably bomb at fucking a Revolution, and we'll be sitting here talking shit about it. Who knows? But I will say the fact that he took that type of a power bomb is probably a little promising. I don't know how he feels, the next day. If he was able to walk around or something like that, he probably wasn't, doing jumping jacks the next day. But I am more interested to see how this match is going to turn out. We also had the gender reveal of baby Rhodes. It's a girl. And I thought that, the fact they had the gender reveal live, I thought that Jade would come out or Shaq would come out to, not really interrupt the reveal, because I knew they wanted to do it live. But probably, afterwards to kind of, continue the storyline between Jade and Shaq. And I saw they had a vignette, and you see Jade and Shaq, playing basketball and stuff like that. First of all, slight false advertising, because we saw Shaq hit a free throw, which, if you knew Shaq when he was playing basketball, Shaq was not good at free throws. So the fact that they showed him do a free throw and he actually hit it, I figured that was for us quote unquote haters who said that he can't do a free throw. Let's see. We also had the matchup between the Young Bucks and Santana Ortiz. This was for the AEW Tag Team Championship, which I knew that the Young Bucks would win. I would love for Santana Ortiz to eventually win the tag team titles. I would love for them to win the titles, because they have been in, they've been wrestling for a while, and they're a really good tag team, especially after the parking lot brawl, to show how good of a tag team that they are. And I hope one day they'll be able to get the tag team titles. And then after that, we had FTR versus Matt and Mike Sydal. And I didn't know that Matt had a brother. this match, it led to Luchasaurus coming back with a new mask, and Jungle Boy and Marco Stunt, they went and attacked FTR. Well, actually, it was Marco Stunt was just cheerleading Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy on. He really didn't do too much. And then I missed the main event. I'm gonna go back and check out the main event with Jon Moxley, Rey Fenix, Lance Archer versus the Butcher, the Blade, and Eddie Kingston. Mainly because I know Rey Fenix did something crazy. And apparently during AEW Dynamite, Jim Ross mentioned that Kenny Omega was the WWE champion. Some people got him on it. Even Drew McIntyre kind of responded to what was said with a picture and a tweet. And, Jim Ross normally messes up anyway on commentary of AEW. And I'm surprised that this is the first, that it took this long for him to mistakenly say WWE. Seeing as though he, was with WWE for so long, I'm, kind of surprised that it took him this long to slip up and mistakenly say AEW. So going into NXT, this is the fallout of NXT Takeover. So of course we started off with Kyle O'Reilly, who wanted answers from Adam Cole. Of course, Adam Cole didn't come out. Roderick Strong comes out and said that, trying to play the peacemaker, saying that Adam Cole didn't mean to do what he did, that he was, off of emotions and stuff like that. Then Finn Balor comes out to blame Kyle O'Reilly, saying he set him up. And then we got Pete Dunne, Lorcan, and Birch, who comes out, and then it set up a match between the 6 of them later on in the night as well. I was also in and out of NXT TakeOver because I was switching back and forth with AEW Dynamite. So I missed the women's tag team match between Amber Moon and Shotzi versus Candice and Indy. And I also missed Isaiah Swerve Scott versus Leon Ruff, which I heard was a pretty good match as well. And then I missed the tag team of Casey and Kaden Carter versus Aaliyah and Jesse. Because I heard that Xia Li comes out, and I was a little confused with them trying to, like, quote unquote save Xia Li, because first of all, Xia Li is like 10 times hotter now that she's a heel versus than when she was as a face. So I say that, she got upgraded. So but I guess this is setting up maybe, I don't know, her versus Kaden more than her versus Casey. And then we got the introduction of the winners of the Mae Young Classic. We had MSK, who came out first, and they cut a promo about how excited they are. They were pretty funny, when they was cutting their promo about how excited they are and the journey that they went through. They went and hugged Beth Phoenix. And then they introduced Dakota Kai and Raquel González, who mentioned that they are, dominant women's tag team. And then Shayna Baszler music hits, and I'm like, yes, I'll take NXT Shayna Baszler over main roster Shayna Baszler any day. And Dakota Kai was like, you weren't here when they were here, and she was like, this is Nia Jax, who is whiny and crying and stuff like that, and this is Shayna Baszler, who ran to the main roster after Rhea beat her. I was like, ooh, shots. Whoa, somebody call the medic. And then Nia Jax mentioned how Dusty Rhodes, told her that you are one big, bad, dominant bitch. And Raquel was like, well, Dusty said that to you because he never met me. And I was like, whoa. And so, on March 3rd, both winners of the Dusty Rhodes Classic will get their title shot. And I guess, to kind of get this over with, because, not Royal Rumble, WrestleMania and whatever NXT Mania would be, I guess will be something different. But I thought that, with them winning the Dusty Rhodes Classics, that would be a title shot at WrestleMania. But I guess it's a little bit too far off, especially for the women's tag team titles. And so on March 3rd, we will get the both the tag team Championship defended. And then Rachel González with the line of the night. She said, "Do you see those boots right there? I'm going to shove it so far up your hole you won't be able to get them out." And I was like, oh, look at Raquel. And, you know, it's pretty interesting because Raquel and Dakota Kai, when they were talking about their win, they felt more like a face versus a heel. But MSK, they were definitely cracking me up. And they were sitting there watching, you know, the four women, you know, talk trash to each other and with Beth Phoenix. And they were eating popcorn and stuff. So, you know, that was something. Let's see. And we had Kushida versus Tyler Russ, who Tyler Russ, of course, who is being coached by Malcolm Bivens, that, you know, he will be a number one contender for the NXT North American Championship if he beats Kushida. Of course, Kushida didn't win. I mean, of course, Kushida won. Russ lost, of course. But, you know, Tyler Russ was very impressive with his ring ability. But of course, you know, Kushida won. And so I'm hoping that Kushida will once again go back after the NXT North American Championship. And then we had Zoe Stark versus Valentina Feroz, I think it's pronounced. So I don't know, you know, I guess to kind of show off Zoe. This was a pretty much of squash match. Show her ability. And I guess, you know, she'll be part of the new crop of talent that will be featured more in NXT once, you know, some of the women from the NXT go up to the main roster as well. And then we come to the main event: Pete Dunne, Larkin and Birch versus Balor, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong. This was mainly showing that Kyle is pissed off. First of all, he did not do the sign of the Undisputed Era with Roderick. He barely tagged in Roderick because he didn't know if he could trust Roderick, if Roderick was like playing him and stuff like that. But of course, you know, chaos ensued during the match. Finn Balor mistakenly had kicked Roderick Strong with a Pele kick, and then Pete Dunne took advantage and got the pin. Then afterwards, you know, they all started attacking each other, and then Adam Cole comes out and kicks Finn Balor in the face, and then he also kicked Kyle O'Reilly in the face, and then he did a suplex on the steps as well. And Kyle O'Reilly looked like he was knocked out, and there was a lot of talk on social media that Kyle had seizures and he was actually injured, but it was confirmed that he is not actually injured. It's actually all storyline, because there was some fan that was ringside that was like, oh, he's really injured, he got put out on the stretcher, you know, Triple H come out and stuff like that. And their NXT cameras was on him too, so I guess it's going to be one of those, this is what happened after the show goes off. But, you know, people were saying that Kyle had seizures and stuff like that, and I really hoped it wasn't true. But there was a lot of people who were confused whether or not it was storyline or if it was actually real, which is something, you know, with WWE, like, you don't know if someone's actually injured or if it was just storyline. But it was confirmed. I forgot who I saw it from, but it was confirmed that it was just storyline, and he didn't have any seizures. So, you know, that kind of ended on a good note. But Adam Cole then gets into the ring and holds up the championship. So we see that he is also going after the title. So it looks like it's about 4 people that's going after the championship. So maybe we'll have a fatal 4-way at WrestleMania or something with Adam Cole, Finn Balor, Karrion Kross, and Pete Dunne. Because that's everyone that's going after the title. And going after Finn Balor as well. So, getting into let me get a little bit into Smackdown. First of all, the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns, he cracked me up. He came out and faced Adam Pearce in the face and was like, look, basically told him, that's cute what you did with what y'all doing with, Drew McIntyre, but I'm not doing that shit. I'm not defending my title against 5 people. I'm not a suckerhead. I'm not a sucker, you can have your Elimination Chamber match. That's nice, and I'll just face whoever wins that night. And Paul Heyman sitting there like, what you gonna do? Fire him? Before WrestleMania, you're gonna suspend him? You can't do that. He's the champ. And so then Adam Pearce mentioned that he is going to add people into the Elimination Chamber. And he actually mentioned Jey Uso. And I was like, that is an interesting angle to go. If Jey Uso wins the Elimination Chamber, then what? Are we going to get the finger poke of doom with Jey Uso and the Tribal Chief? Is Jey Uso going to decide to actually stand up for himself? Which he really can't, because he'll be kicked out of the family. And then he mentioned that Kevin Owens will be in the match as well. And then we had tag team matches to determine who would be in the Elimination Chamber as well. We had Cesaro and Daniel Bryan winning to get into the match, and Baron Corbin and Sami Zayn winning a match to get into the Elimination Chamber. Prayers out to Apollo Crews. I don't know how he is doing after that sick burn that he got from Big E. Big E telling him that you need to go back to catering. I was hoping that they would have the mic closer up to the face so you could really hear what they were saying to each other, because I couldn't hear Big E at first until he said that line of you need to go back to catering. I tweeted out that I think Apollo's face probably looks like Randy Orton's face after he got burnt by Alexa Bliss. And I mean like fire burn, not burnt like Apollo Crews did. We also see that Seth Rollins got his theme back, which a lot of people were happy about. People didn't know if he was going to come back as a face or a heel, since he's now dad, and he is the baby daddy of the man, and everybody likes the man, so it kind of makes sense if he became face. But he walked out, and he started out saying that he's now a father and he's changed. He come to realize that he must do things for the greater good. And for some reason, they decided to have the whole roster out there ringside, except for the Tribal Chief, of course, because Tribal Chief don't give a shit. And then as Seth Rollins started to say his piece about how he's doing things for the greater good and stuff like that, everyone walked out except for Cesaro. And Cesaro was standing there and was like, I don't know, don't know what's going on here, but, I'm a peace out. And then Seth Rollins went and attacked Cesaro. So we got that going. So now we are getting into the predictions for the Elimination Chamber. So starting out, and I'm sure this is going to be the first match, seeing as though whoever is the winner will have a second match later on. We have the Elimination Chamber for King Corbin, Kevin Owens, Cesaro, Daniel Bryan, Sami Zayn, and Jey Uso. Here's who I hope it's not. I hope it's not Kevin Owens again. And this is why, a lot of people love to say how such and such is getting buried. And, they lost this match and they got buried. And I always say, wins and losses do not matter in WWE. You can feel that way with AEW. If AEW, someone starts losing, you can say that person's getting buried. Because it's very quick for someone to be 0-15 in AEW, and it actually affects them as far as them getting a title shot. With WWE, it doesn't matter. You can lose 20 matches in a row and then suddenly get a title shot. We seen it with Carmella. Carmella was out, she was off TV, comes back, boom, title shot. We see here, Kevin Owens have lost how many times to Roman Reigns, and he still gets a shot to get a title shot. So I'm hoping it's not Kevin Owens, because we've seen this too many times. I don't know how many more times we have it Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns. Especially because we know it's going one side. I'd rather it be different feuds than for it to be the same feud over and over and over again. And some people like, the chemistry between Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns. And, the match, their last man standing match was pretty good. It was good. But I don't know how much more we can get with this feud between Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns. Like, I don't know how we are taking this feud to another level. I'm going to predict, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to predict this as well. I'm going to go with Daniel Bryan here. I feel as though this is the pay-per-view between, before WrestleMania. Not a lot of things are going to happen. I don't think the title is going to be changed, even though they have done it before where the title changed hands at Elimination Chamber. But I'm going to go with Daniel Bryan here just so we can get that feud between him and Roman Reigns to kind of get it out of the way before they actually go after whatever the feud is going to be for WrestleMania. So I'm going to go with Daniel Bryan to win the Elimination Chamber. I think Jey Uso is going to be the second. He'll be the last one to be eliminated. And I think Sami Zayn might be the first one to be eliminated, to be honest. And so this leads to, for the Universal Championship match, Roman Reigns versus the Elimination Chamber winner, which I just predicted would be Daniel Bryan. And truthfully, it really doesn't matter who wins. We all know that the Tribal Chief is going to retain his title to go on to WrestleMania anyway. I highly doubt that they're going to take the title off of Roman Reigns, especially with his character being pretty popular with people, whether you love the character or you're playing along with the storyline and booing the character as well. I highly doubt they're going to take the title off of him. Next up, we got the Raw Women's Championship, Asuka versus Lacey Evans. I highly doubt whatever they have up their sleeve as far as with Lacey Evans, that Lacey Evans will lose the title. If they take the title off of Asuka before we go to WrestleMania, because they did this shit before with Asuka. They took the title off of Asuka before she went to WrestleMania. If they do this, I will lose my fucking mind. Okay? Because first of all, it's Lacey Evans. Second of all, she just said she's pregnant. And apparently she's really pregnant in real life. So I don't know how this is going to play out. And I'm hoping that this is just leading to the match of Asuka and Charlotte. Because we all know that Charlotte is taking the title off of Asuka. We all know that's happening. But I'm hoping that they're not aiming for Lacey Evans versus Charlotte for the title. That's what I'm hoping it's not. And then Asuka starts dancing away again to do something. I'm hoping that's not what it is. We also have for the United States Championship triple threat match, Bobby Lashley versus Keith Lee versus Riddle. I'm going to go with Mr. Bobby Lashley here because he's very dominant. Even though they could go with Keith Lee. But quite honestly, I don't think Keith Lee is... I don't think Keith Lee is there yet as far as getting the United States Championship. Now, if there's a title for him to win, yes, it would be the United States Championship. But I don't think Keith Lee is there right now. I think that, they're still trying to figure out who the hell Keith Lee is on the main roster, especially with them changing his moveset. They changed up his music and his gear and stuff like that. So, I don't know what they're going to do as far as with Keith Lee. And then finally, as of right now, Elimination Chamber only has 5 matches. But because it's the 2 Elimination Chamber matches, that's probably what's going to take up most of the time. But right now they only have the 5 matches. And so I'm guessing, I think the main event will actually be Roman Reigns. But this might be the main event as well. Drew McIntyre versus AJ Styles versus Jeff Hardy versus Randy Orton versus Sheamus versus Kofi Kingston. And this is the Elimination Chamber match for the WWE Championship. I'm going to say Drew McIntyre, but I have a feeling that the title might change here. If it does change, it would either go to Randy Orton or Sheamus. I don't think Kofi Mania is happening this year. Sorry to bust everyone's bubble. I don't think it's going to be AJ Styles because there really isn't a storyline right now for AJ Styles. It's not going to be Jeff Hardy, truthfully. I'm sorry to say. Jeff Hardy is there to do his crazy ass spots like he always do. But I think it's going to go to either Randy Orton or Sheamus. I think it's going to go, if it goes to Randy Orton, then that's who Edge is going to choose as far as going after the title. I don't think he's going to go after the NXT championship, even though he never won it. Even though it'll be very interesting, the type of matches that he can have and the feuds that he can have down there. I don't think he's going after the NXT championship. People think he's going to go after the Universal Championship, and I don't think that's going to happen. Truthfully, I think he's going to go after the WWE Championship, and I think it's going to be because Randy Orton wins it. If Drew McIntyre retains it, then obviously we're leading up to Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus for WrestleMania, unless there's a pay-per-view event after Elimination Chamber, which I don't think it is. I think, actually it might be, oh yeah, Fastlane. Okay, so I think this is just going to be all, we have Fastlane coming up then. So no, this isn't the pay-per-view before WrestleMania. But I think this is maybe going for Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus if Drew retains the title. If Drew retains the title, then he's going to go after Roman Reigns, because the feud there is Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus. Don't know if that's, WrestleMania worthy, truthfully. Randy Orton versus Edge for the title is kind of more WrestleMania worthy, truthfully. But I don't think really Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus is worthy. But overall, I think this will be a good pay-per-view. It's not going to be great. I think it'll have its moments. I think the Raw Women's Championship match is going to piss me off. I can tell you that right now. We're missing the IC title. We're missing the Women's Tag Team title. We're missing the SmackDown Women's Championship. If we're gonna have Sasha versus Carmella again. I don't know. Sorry, my cat was doing something crazy. But I think that the Elimination Chamber will be fine. But I feel like we're still missing some matches as well, unless they're going to concentrate on those titles at Fastlane. So that's it for the WrestleBread podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Let me give a couple of shout outs. Shout out to Julian Rob Bates from the Wrestling Court Podcast and AlternativeMinds.com. Keita and Jay from the Keita and Jay Show. Chris and Keita from We Talk Next Podcast, which is featured on the Keita and Jay Show. Dando and Larry for Half K Podcast. Devin Hafiz from Clark Street Wrestling. Also shout out to Straight Talk Wrestling Podcast and Dirty Heels Podcast as well. I got to check out those podcasts this week. Trying to get my rotation of podcasts down, because I listen to a lot of the podcasts while I'm working. So got to check out those podcasts. Definitely check them out if you haven't. They also are on YouTube as well, so check out their YouTube channels as well. So coming up, we have episode 100 coming on Tuesday, live Tuesday, February 23rd at 8 p.m. It'll be live on Mixler. I might more likely going to live stream. I can't promise that, but I'm going to make sure that the camera and everything is set up as well. I'm going to be doing a review of the Elimination Chamber, and I'm also going to be doing a Ask Me Anything session in celebration of episode 100. I got some questions coming in. Continue to give me questions. You can ask me about wrestling, football, video games, whatever. And be sure to check it out live as well. Be sure to hop on Twitter and follow me at Jaydee Talks. That's JAYDE Talks. And you can follow the podcast at WrestleBread on Twitter. You can also find the podcast on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and wherever you are listening to podcasts as well. Thanks again. Let me know your thoughts and your predictions for the Elimination Chamber. Let me know how you felt about the NXT Takeover as well. And until next time, guys, peace.